questions based on these concepts. The concept of congruence was first introduced by German mathematician Carl Friedrich Gauss. He laid the foundations of modern number theory. How do we define congruence? If you have two numbers a and b, then a is congruent to b modulo n if n divides a minus b, or we can say a minus b is equal to k into n for some integer k. Least non-negative residues modulo n. Given any integer a, let q and r be its quotient and remainder upon division by n, so that a is equal to q into n plus r, 0 less than equal to r less than n. Then by definition of congruence, a is congruent to r modulo n, because if we take modulo n, then this part will be 0 and a will be congruent to r under modulo n. Because there are n choices for r, this remainder r has n choices, 0 to n minus 1. A is congruent to 0 modulo n if and only if n divides a. This set of n integers 0, 1 to n minus 1 is called the set of least non-negative residues modulo n. In general, a collection of n integers a1, a2 up to an is said to form a complete set of residues or a complete system of residues modulo n if every integer is congruent modulo n to one and only one of the ak. Let us consider this example. We have these numbers minus 12, minus 4, 11, 13, 22, 82 and 91. Constitute a complete set of residues modulo 7. These numbers constitute a complete set of residues modulo 7. Why we are saying that? Because minus 12 is congruent to 2 modulo 7, minus 4 is congruent to 3 modulo 7, 11 is congruent to 4 modulo 7, 13 is congruent to 6 modulo 7, 22 is congruent to 1, 82 is congruent to 5 and 91 is congruent to 0. So we are getting all the numbers 0 to 6. 0 and 1, then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 0 to n minus 1. Here n is 6, so n is 7, so n minus 1 is 6. So 0 to 6 we are getting all the numbers. These numbers are congruent to 0 to n minus 1, only 1 ak. So any n integers form a complete set of residues modulo n if and only if no two of the integers are congruent modulo n. Here none of minus 12, minus 4, 11, 13, 22, 82, 91 is congruent to other modulo 7. All are giving different values from 0 to 6. So they are incongruent modulo n. Let us consider few more examples on set of least non-negative residues and complete set of non-negative residues modulo n. In this question we have to find the least non-negative residue of 5 to the power 18 under modulo 11. So let us try to find what is 5 to the power 18 under modulo 11. 5 square is 25, which is congruent to 3 modulo 11, because 11 to the 22 and 25 minus 22 is 3. 5 to the power 8 is 5 square to the power 4, and 5 square is congruent to 3 by the previous step. So this is equal to 3 to the power 4, and 3 to the power 4 is congruent to 4 modulo 11. Therefore 5 to the power 16 is equal to 5 to the power 8 to the power 2, and 5 to the power 8 is congruent to 4. So this is congruent to 4 square, which is congruent to 16 and which is congruent to 5 under modulo 11. Therefore 5 to the power 18 is congruent to 5 square into 5 to the power 16. 18 can be written as 2 plus 16. So now 5 square is congruent to 3 modulo 11 and 5 to the power 16 is congruent to 5 modulo 11. Therefore 5 to the power 18 is congruent to 3 into 5, and 3 into 5 is 15. 15 modulo 11 will be 4. So 5 to the power 18 is congruent to 4 modulo 11. Therefore 4 is the least non-negative residue of 5 to the power 18 modulo 11. We can also use Fermat's theorem to solve it. By Fermat's theorem, 5 to the power 10 is congruent to 1 modulo 11. Here n is 11, and so 5 to the power n minus 1 is congruent to 1 modulo n by Fermat's theorem. Therefore, 5 to the power 18 is equal to 5 to the power 10 plus 8. So this is equal to 5 to the power 10 into 5 to the power 8, and 5 to the power 10 is congruent to 1. So this is congruent to 4 modulo 11. Next, in this question, uh, we have to find that which of these four is the complete set of residues modulo 11. So we have four sets of numbers, different numbers. So let us see what we have to do. To be a complete set of residues modulo n, we need a set of n integers, no two of which are congruent modulo n. This is by definition of complete set of residues. Let us consider part A. This. We are finding the remainders when we are dividing these numbers by 11. So up to 8 there will be no change. All the numbers will be 7 under modulo 11. 0 will be congruent to 0, 1 congruent to 1 under modulo 11, 2 is congruent to 2 modulo 11, 4 is congruent to 4 modulo 11, 8 is congruent to 8 modulo 11, and 16. Now 16 is more than 11. So what is 16 modulo 11? This is 5. And what is 32 modulo 11? That is 10. And similarly we find all the values in all the four parts B, A, B, C, D. So in first part, let us see, we are getting numbers 0 to 10, that is 0 to n minus 1, n is 11. 0 to n minus 1, we are getting all the numbers and there is no repetition. All are incongruent modulo 11. In second part also, we are getting all the numbers 0 to 10 and there is no repetition. But here in C part, we are getting repetition 6. Here this third is 6. 6 is congruent to 6 modulo 11, and this is 6. This 17. 17 under modulo 11, that is also 6. So this is not a complete system of residues modulo 11. In D part, again we are getting 0 to 10 all the numbers and there is no repetition. So now we know how to find the complete system of residues, how to say which system is the complete system of residues. Let us consider this question. Here we have to find the last two digits of 9 to the power 9 to the power 9. Now 9 cube minus 9 can be written as 9 into 9 square minus 1, which is equal to 9 into 81 minus 1, which is equal to 9 into 80. Therefore 9 cube is congruent to 9 modulo 10, because this will be 0 under modulo 10. So 9 cube minus 9 is congruent to 0. That means 9 cube is congruent to 9 modulo 10. Let us fix this as equation number 1. Therefore, so we have 9 cube is congruent to 9 to the power 9 modulo 10. Therefore, 9 cube minus 9 is congruent to 9 to the power 9 minus 9 modulo 10. Therefore, 9 to the power 9 minus 9 is congruent to 0, because 9 cube is congruent to 9 modulo 10. So 9 to the power 9 minus 9 will be congruent to 0 modulo 10. This is by 1. This implies that 9 to the power 9 minus 9 is equal to 10k for some k, because this is congruent to 0. Therefore, this number should be equal to 10k for some k. Or we can say 9 to the power 9 equals to 9 plus 10k. Take this 9 in the right hand side. It will be 9 plus 10. So again take the power 9. 9 to the power 9 to the power 9, which is equal to 9 to the power 9 plus 10k, because 9 to the power 9 is 9 plus 10k. So this is equal to 9 to the power 9 plus 10k. So this is equal to, let us break this, 9 to the power 9 into 9 to the power 10k. Fix this as equation number 2. Now look at the last two digits of 9 to the power 9 and 9 to the power 10. 9 to the power 1, in 9 to the power 1, last digit is 9. 9 square, last two digits 81. 9 cube, last two digits 27. So up to 9 to the power 10, we have to find last two digits. Therefore 9 to the power 9 is congruent to 89 modulo 100. So what is modulo 100? Modulo 100 means last two digits of that number. So 9 to the power 9 is congruent to 89 modulo 100. And 9 to the power 10 is congruent to 1 modulo 100. Therefore 9 to the power 10k is congruent to 1 modulo 100. Therefore 9 to the power 9 into 9 to the power 10k is congruent to 89 into 1 modulo 100. Then from second and third, second says that 9 to the power 9 to the power 9 is congruent to 9 to the power 9 into 9 to the power 10k, and third is like this. So from 2 and 3, last two digits of 9 to the power 9 to the power 9 are 89. Next, let us see some important results on congruence. For arbitrary integers a and b, a is congruent to b modulo n if and only if a and b leave the same non-negative remainder when divided by n. Second result says that a is congruent to itself modulo n. If a is congruent to b modulo n, then b is congruent to a modulo n. Lastly, if a is congruent to b modulo n and b is congruent to c modulo n, then a is congruent to c modulo n. Next, if a is congruent to b modulo n and c is congruent to d modulo n, then we can add these congruences. A plus c is congruent to b plus d modulo n, and we can multiply them also. A into c is congruent to b into d modulo n. Next result says that if a is congruent to b modulo n, then a plus c is congruent to b plus c modulo n, and ac is congruent to bc modulo n. Next, if a is congruent to b modulo n, then a to the power k is congruent to b to the power k modulo n for any positive integer k. All these results are important in congruence. Let us try to solve this question. Here we have to show that 41 divides this number 2 to the power 20 minus 1. First of all, let us find 2 to the power 5. 2 to the power 5 is 32, which under modulo 41, this is congruent to minus 9. Now, 2 to the power 20 can be written as 2 to the power 5 whole to the power 4, and 2 to the power 5 is congruent to minus 9. So, this is congruent to minus 9 to the power 4 modulo 41. Therefore, 2 to the power 20 is congruent to 81 into 81 modulo 41, and 81 under modulo 41 is 1. So this is congruent to 1 into 1 modulo 41. This implies that 2 to the power 20 minus 1 is congruent to 1 minus 1 congruent to 0 modulo 41. So this is congruent to 0 modulo 41. This implies that 41 divides this number. In this question, we have to find the remainder obtained upon dividing the sum s, which is factorial 1 plus factorial 2 plus factorial 3 and so on up to factorial 100 by 12. We have to find the remainder when this number is divided by 12. So let us see what is factorial 4. Factorial 4 is 4 into 3 into factorial 2. And what is 4 into 3? 4 into 3 is 12. So when we divide this number by 12, it will give remainder 0. So factorial 4 is congruent to 0 modulo 12. Therefore, S is congruent to factorial 1 plus factorial 2 plus factorial 3, and all the preceding terms will be congruent to 0 modulo 11, because factorial 4 is congruent to 0 modulo 11 modulo 12, and factorial 5 can be written as 5 into factorial 4. So again that will be congruent to 0, and so on. In all these terms we will get factorial 4 in multiplication. Therefore all the terms will be 0. So we are left with factorial 1 plus factorial 2 plus factorial 3. So factorial 1 is 1, factorial 2 is 2, and factorial 3 is 6. Adding them we get 9. Therefore remainder is 9 when the sum S is divided by 12. Next topic is linear congruences. An equation of the form Ax congruent to B modulo n is called a linear congruence. Solution of a linear congruence comes from the solution of a Diophantine equation, because this congruence implies that we have Ax congruent to B modulo n. That means n divides Ax minus B, and that means Ax minus B can be written as n into something. So let n into y for some integer y. So if we take ny in the left hand side and b in the right hand side, we get Ax minus ny is equal to b. What is this? This is a Diophantine equation in two variables. So if we know the solution of Diophantine equation, we can tell what is the solution of this congruence. Let us see this theorem. The linear congruence Ax congruent to B modulo n has a solution if and only if D divides B, where D is the GCD of A and n. If D divides B, then it has D mutually incongruent solutions modulo n. Corollary to this theorem says that if GCD of A and n is 1, then the linear congruence Ax congruent to B modulo n has a unique solution modulo n. Next theorem is one of the important theorem in number theory. It is Chinese remainder theorem. This is used to find a simultaneous solution of a system of congruences. So let n1, n2, n3 up to nr be positive integers such that GCD of ni and nj is 1 for I is not equal to j. These ni's are relatively prime. Then the system of linear congruences given by this: x is congruent to a1 modulo n1, x congruent to a2 modulo n2, up to x congruent to ar modulo nr. This system of linear congruences has a simultaneous solution which is unique modulo the integer n1, n2, nr. So if we have a system of linear congruence, then we can find the solution of this system with the help of Chinese remainder theorem. Let us try to prove Chinese remainder theorem. We want to prove this theorem because the steps which we are using in the proof of this theorem will be used in the solution of questions also. Let us start by forming the product n1 into n2 into nr. These given n1, n2, n3 up to nr. Let n is equal to n1 into n2 into nr. For each k from 1 to r, let nk is equal to n upon nk. That means n1 is n upon n1, n2 is n upon n2, n3 is n upon n3. This is capital Nk and this is small nk. So what is n upon nk? It will be n1, n2, n3 and so on, nk minus 1, nk plus 1 and so on up to nr. So the factor nk is eliminated because nk is in the denominator. Since it is given that GCD of ni and nj is 1 for I is not equal to j, they are relatively prime. Therefore GCD of capital Nk and small nk is 1. Therefore they are also relatively prime. Therefore by the theory of a single congruence, this congruence nkx is congruent to 1 modulo nk. It has a unique solution because GCD is 1, therefore this congruence has a unique solution. To find the solution of a single congruence, what do? We check the GCD of this number and this number. So if it has GCD 1, then the congruence has a unique solution. So here also, because the GCD is 1, therefore this congruence has a unique solution. Let us suppose that unique solution is xk. Now we claim that x bar, which is given by a1 n1 x1 plus a2 capital N2 x2 and so on up to ar nr xr. This is a simultaneous solution of the given system. We will prove that this is the simultaneous solution of the given system. First, we observe that capital Ni is congruent to 0 mod Nk. What is capital Ni? Capital Ni will be n upon Ni. So from n, the Ni factor will be eliminated. So Ni is this n1, n2, n3, Ni minus 1, Ni plus 1, Ni is missing here, and so on. Then some Nk will be there, Nk minus 1, Nk plus 1, they will be also there up to Nr. So if we divide this number Ni by Nk, because we have to find modulo Nk of this number. So if we divide this number by Nk, the remainder will be 0 because Nk is present here. So this number will be divisible by Nk. So the remainder will be 0. Therefore, we are saying that Ni is congruent to 0 modulo Nk. So therefore, x bar, which is a1 n1 x1 plus a2 n2 x2 up to ar nr xr, this is congruent to ak nk xk mod nk. Note that in all other terms except ak nk xk, nk is present. So if nk is present, so it is divisible by nk. So all the other terms will be 0 and we are left with ak nk xk. Now, but the integer xk was the solution of nk x congruent to 1 modulo nk, because here we stated that this has a unique solution and we suppose that the unique solution is represented by xk. So what is the solution? Solution means it should satisfy this congruence. So that means nk into xk is congruent to 1 modulo nk. Therefore, x bar is congruent to ak into 1, which is congruent to ak mod nk. And therefore, a solution to the given system of congruence exists. Now, let us see the uniqueness of the solution. Suppose that x dash is any other integer that satisfies the system of congruences. Then x bar is congruent to ak is congruent to x dash mod nk. This implies that nk should divide x bar minus x dash for all k. Now, because GCD of ni and nj is 1, and we know this result that if A divides C and B divides C with GCD of AB as 1, then AB should also divide C. Therefore, by this result, N1, N2, N3 up to Nr, this product should divide x bar minus x dash. And hence, x bar is congruent to x dash modulo N, because this N1 and 2 Nr is your N. Hence, we have proved this Chinese remainder theorem. Let us solve the system of three congruences with the help of Chinese remainder theorem. From here, it will be clear how we were using those steps in the proof. So the congruences are like this: x is congruent to 2 modulo 3, x is congruent to 3 modulo 5, and x is congruent to 2 modulo 7. So these are n1, n2, n3. First of all, we have to find n, which is n1 into n2 into n3. So 3 into 5 into 7 is 105. Then we find capital N1, which is n upon n1. So 105 upon 3, which is 35. Capital N2 is n upon n2. So 105 upon 5, which is 21. N3, which is n upon n3. Therefore, this is equal to 105 upon 7, which gives you 15. Now the linear congruence is 35x is congruent to 1 modulo 3, 21x congruent to 1 modulo 5, 15x congruent to 1 modulo 7. These we are using these n1, n2, n3, 35, 21 and 15. 35x congruent to 1 mod 3, 21x congruent to 1 mod 5, 15x is congruent to 1 modulo 7. So these linear congruences are satisfied by x1 2, x2 1, x3 1. These x1, x2, x3 are the solution for these congruences. So they are satisfied by x1 equals to 2, x2 equals to 1 and x3 equals to 1. Thus the solution of the given system is given by a1 n1 x1 plus a2 n2 x2 plus a3 n3 x3. Substitute all these values, we get x is equal to 23 modulo 105. So this is the way we solve a system of linear congruences. Next result is about the system of linear congruences where we have two variables x and y. Ax plus by is congruent to r modulo n, and the other equation is cx plus dy is congruent to s modulo n. Then this system has a unique solution modulo n whenever GCD of AD minus BC and n, GCD of AD minus BC with n is 1, congruent to 1. Let us try to prove it. We will prove this by the method of elimination. So how we are doing? We are multiplying first by D and second by B. Suppose this is 1 and this is second equation. So we are multiplying first equation by D. So this will be D by and second by B. So this will be B dy and then subtract second from first. So this term will be cancelled. So we get AD minus BC into X is congruent to DR minus BS modulo n. Let us suppose this is 3. Now it is given that GCD of AD minus BC and n is 1. Therefore by the congruence, single congruence condition, so AD minus BC Z is congruent to 1 modulo n. It has a unique solution. Suppose that the solution is T. Therefore means AD minus BC into T is congruent to 1 modulo n. Now multiply 3 by T, multiply this by T, we get X is congruent to T into dr minus Bs modulo n. So a value for Y can be found by a similar elimination process. From here we found X. So if we want to find Y, then we can find value of Y with the help of similar steps. That is, multiply the first congruence by C and second by A and subtract to get this. Now multiply this congruence by T and we get value of Y. So in this way we find the solution of a system of congruence with two variables. Let us consider this question where we have to solve this system. 7x plus 3y is congruent to 10 modulo 16 and 2x plus 5y is congruent to 9 modulo 16. First of all, let us check that GCD of 7 into 5 minus 2 into 3 with 16 is 1. Therefore, solution of this system exists. Now multiply first by 5 and second by 3 and then subtract. We get 29x congruent to 23 modulo 16. So this implies that 13x is congruent to 7 modulo 16. Now multiplied by 5 we get x is congruent to 35 and which is congruent to 3 modulo 16. When the variable y is eliminated from the system in a similar manner, then we will get 29y is congruent to 43 modulo 16. So this implies that 13y is congruent to 11 modulo 16. If we multiply by 5, we get y is congruent to 55, which is congruent to 7 modulo 16. Therefore, x is congruent to 3 modulo 16 and y is congruent to 7 modulo 16. Now let us consider this question where we have to solve the linear congruence. 25x is congruent to 15 modulo 29. Here we can check that GCD of 25 and 29 is 1. Therefore, we can say that solution of this congruence exists. Now, minus 4x is congruent to minus 14. How do we get this? If we have this, then we can add minus 29 in both the sides. Then 25 minus 29 will be minus 4 and 15 minus 29 will be minus 14. Then minus 4 will be congruent to 2 and this minus 14 will be congruent to 7. So 2x is congruent to 7. Therefore, 30x multiplying by 15, we can multiply by 15. So 30x is congruent to 105. So this implies that x is congruent to 76. We are adding minus 29. Therefore, x is congruent to 18 modulo 29, adding minus 58 on the right hand side. So if we have a system, then we can solve by this method also. Now solve the set of simultaneous congruences. We have this system: x is congruent to 1 modulo 3, x is congruent to 2 modulo 5, and x is congruent to 3 modulo 7. So first of all, we have to find capital N, which is 3 into 5 into 7. So this is 105. So here N1, N2, N3 is given to be 357. So then capital N1 will be N upon N1, which is 35. N2 will be 105 upon 5, which is 21. N3 will be 105 upon 7, which is 15. Therefore, 35x is congruent to 1 modulo 3. So 35x minus 36x is congruent to 1. Therefore, minus x is congruent to 1. Therefore, x is congruent to minus 1 modulo 3. Now, second congruence, 21x is congruent to 1 mod 5. Therefore, 21x minus 20x is congruent to 1. We can subtract minus 20x from here because this 20 is congruent to 0 under modulo 5. So there will be no difference if I subtract 20 from here. Similarly here, we were subtracting 36 from 35 because 36 under modulo 3 is 0. So I can subtract 36 because that will not affect my congruence. Similarly, I am doing here. 21x minus 20x is congruent to 1. Therefore, x is congruent to 1 modulo 5. Now, third congruence, 15x congruent to 1 modulo 7. Here, I can subtract 14 because 14 under modulo 7 will be 0. So, there will be no effect on this congruence. And we can find value of x as congruent to 1 modulo 7. Thus, we got x1 as 1 minus 1, x2 is plus 1 and x3 is also plus 1. Therefore,